Conventional fitness programs focus upon strength, endurance, cardio, flexibility, but where they all fail is that they neglect to address the aches and pains which we accumulate daily, as well as the fears and traumas we've stored in our body throughout the course of our life. Some fitness programs even go so far as to amplify and reinforce the aches and pains. They focus upon physique at the expense of your pain-free health and longevity, which is the reason that you're here. Your ability to move in 3 dimensions fluidly, your ability to get into flow, is absolutely requisite for your pain-free health. General wear and tear, injuries, stress, they all squeeze out the nutrition and lubrication in our joints called our synovial fluid. They create scar tissues called adhesions and calcium deposits called joint salts, as well as a host of other rheumatoid ailments. Removing and discharging that tension that we hold throughout our body derails the onset of progressive deterioration of our joints. So getting into flow may have the opportunity to abate carpal tunnel syndrome, elbow tendonitis, rotator cuff impingement, neck and back pain, as well as the host of other ailments we suffer throughout the course of the day, the course of our lifetime. I've gotten into flow every day of my life for the past 8 years. I developed the program as a result of compensating for the injuries and pains I suffered competing at a world-class level in my martial art. When I became the U.S. national coach, I helped my athletes perform at their best while remaining pain and injury free by getting into flow. I want you to get into flow for the same reasons. So let's start with the 10 basic principles of getting into flow. Principle 1, intuition. The first rule is that you do know best. Intuflow gets its namesake from the combination of intuition and flow. Grace and poise are our natural states. We just have to remember them. Our nervous system, our circulatory system, and our connective tissue system all speak to each other in their own unique language at a cellular level. We're basically hardwired to communicate problems if we would only listen and act upon those hunches. Principle number 2, universal. The second rule is that everyone will develop in a predictable pattern. Human nature is like this. Whether it's in the physical realm, the emotional realm, the verbal realm, we all develop in a universally predictable pattern. Locomotion is a good example. First we move to sitting, then we start to crawl, then we stand up, and then we walk. If you get to a point in your movement where you feel that you're stuck, don't worry, you will develop. Everyone develops in a systematic way from moving from recovery to coordination to refinement. Principle number 3, incremental. The third rule is that you must have baby steps to ensure that your development is permanent. Intuflow progresses from recovering the basic motor components of each joint, such as flexion, extension, rotation, and then gradually, through baby steps, coordinates them and refines them with the rest of your movement. Progress must be gradual in order to be permanent, so don't rush. This isn't a race. Principle number 4, personal. The fourth rule is that we each develop in our own unique process. Human nature may develop in a predictable, universal pattern. However, we each do so in our own timing. For instance, you may take a short amount of time to recover the range of motion strength in your elbow. It may take a little bit longer in your knee. And for someone else, it may be the reverse. The point is that your development will take its own process. Don't rush it. Don't hold it to someone else's standard. Just let it happen of its own accord. Principle number 5, sophistication. The fifth rule is that we need to allow ourselves to move from the simple to the sophisticated. Human nature progresses from the simple to the complex and from the general to the specific. Yet we're commonly told to keep it simple, stupid. KISS. The problem with the KISS method is that it only applies to the beginning of any skill. If we maintain simplicity, we become bored, we stop adapting, and we reach that dreaded plateau. Worst of all, we may suffer repetitive stress injuries. So as you get into flow, allow yourself to play with increasingly more challenging movements and move from the simple to the sophisticated. Principle number 6, holistic. The 6th rule is that we progress from the head downwards and from the center outwards. Getting into flow will develop the same way. We must address the body as a whole system, not in isolation, not just one elbow, not just one knee. If you want to reclaim and refine your pain-free health and longevity, you need to do so in the same way that we develop from infancy, from the head downwards and from the center outwards. Principle 7, integrative. The 7th rule is that we need to integrate our breathing, movement, and structure in order to get into flow. Unfortunately, insufficient movement, prior injuries, stress, trauma, even fear all seek to disintegrate our breathing structure and movement. For example, if you get stressed out, you hold your breath, your shoulders scrunch up, your head juts forward, your posture starts to go down the drain. In order to get into flow, we need to integrate our movement, our structure, and our breathing. Principle number 8, compensation. The 8th rule is that limited mobility, aches, pains, may not actually be the source of the issue. It may actually be the opposite side of the body. We're not built like a brick house, each brick stacked on top of one another independently. If a tree falls in the corner of a brick house, it may destroy that side of the wall but leave the rest of the structure intact. We're more like the high-tension guide wire system of a sailboat, each balanced to hold the sail up tight. Much like a sweater, if you walk by a protruding nail and it snags part of the sweater, it may make thread on the opposite side of the sweater tight and even tear. When you suffer aches, pains, or limited mobility, it may not actually be the source of the issue. It may be some compensation for a hidden issue on the opposite side of the body. Principle 9, symmetry. The 9th rule is that we must explore our body in symmetry to get into flow. We do this through complementary movements. For instance, if you bend forward, you bend backward. If you twist your neck one way, you twist your neck the opposite way. We're incorrectly taught that we should stretch out the tightness, when what we should actually do is mirror it. For instance, if it hurts to move your shoulder in the rear quadrant, move it in the front, or even on the bottom, in the opposite. What we should seek to do is to shave away at the bound tension slowly, smoothly. We move to the tension, not through the tension. Principle 10 is fun. The 10th rule is that you can't work to get into flow. You have to have fun in it. You can't fight fire with fire. If you have pain in your body, increasing the pain won't help you. The best thing that you can do is to enthusiastically explore the movement, to enjoy what you're doing, and to explore this as your personal physical odyssey. So how do you get started? How much do you train? How often? 3 to 5 repetitions in both directions, from head to toe and from the center outwards, once per day suffices. If you can't afford 15 minutes to guarantee your health, then 2 minutes several times a day suffices. Hit the major areas, your neck, your spine, your hips, your shoulders. If you're at a particular activity like sitting at a desk at work, hit the areas that you use most often. If you're typing a lot, work on your wrists, your fingers, your neck, so that it doesn't create an imbalance from your activity. Make sure that the focus of your program is whole bodily, but also pay attention to the local issues that may arise just from your normal activities. So when do you progress on to the next program? We have the basic, the intermediate, the advanced, and the master. You progress on to the next program when you can consistently perform the techniques in each program very well. What does that mean? Well, it's subjective. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being very poor and 10 being very graceful, if you can consistently perform each movement in the program 8 or higher, then it's time for you to advance.